Kim asks, I would love to hear your thoughts on the best way to proceed when you open the video screen and the couple's in their cycle. I ask, are you guys okay? The answer is no. So then I ask things like, when did this start? How are you feeling? What happened? The explanation can take a while. Basically, the whole session can be taken over by content, and then you're at the end and no traction was made, or it can certainly feel like that. So what do you do when you start your question when
it's a great question, Kim. And so what comes to mind instantly for me is Tango Move One: track and reflect the process in the present moment. And so I heard that quick list of questions, and the one I like the best is, how are you feeling right now? I'd like to hear from each of you. I understand you're in distress. So the clinician, instead of asking a bunch of questions, which will give you too much content and you'll get explanations, and then you get an explanation from one, and then the partner needs to respond to correct it from his or her, their experience. You just get yourself kind of, my fear would be a little bit like stuck in the middle and having to hear and balance from both partners. So I take the lead. Oh my goodness, we've just started the session and I can see you're in distress. The pattern, the hot mess express, the protest polka, the vortex has come alive. Whatever words you have, remember pursue, withdraw. We talked about that a few weeks ago or last week. Whatever words you have that the client's familiar with, reflect the process as you're observing it right here and now. To not take control like a manager top down and hierarchical, but to take control to contain the distress. You meaning you and me and everyone here, we know what to do with this distress. They don't.
Yeah.
They think talking about content and explanations is going to be helpful. It will never change it. So we reflect their interdependence and we track and reflect the process both within and between as a way to contain their distress. You see them, their distress, individual and relational distress matters to you. You're coming closer. You know how to help. We've got to slow the moment down. And this is my line. I'd like to hear from each of you. It doesn't matter to me who goes first. You're feeling what on the inside? Just like you said a minute ago, Jen, we take their focus off of focusing on the other and turn it back to their inner, even if they're just going to give you secondary affect. I'm totally frustrated. I'm super annoyed. I'm irritated. How dare them? Yeah, right. Frustrated, annoyed, irritated. And so when they start going, how dare them, which means you might get zingers about their loved one, you go right in, I'm with you. I get it. Tell me more about frustrated, irritated, annoyed, and get into resonance with the secondary affect to validate it and let it take up space. It needs to be heard and felt before they'll follow your lead to anything more primary. And so I just stick with the question, and you're feeling what right now? Hang on. I got to interrupt you. Thank you so much for letting me interrupt you. Content won't help us. I'm so worried about the two of you getting caught in another escalation. We've got to make sure what happens during this meeting is different than what happens outside of this meeting. You're feeling what right here, right now? So notice my pace of speech goes way up. I'm talking fast to get in those little moments between them when they're escalated. The screen is an inhibitor at this point. I don't have a chair I can wheel closer, but I'm leaning in to come between you guys, wrapping my arms around each of you, trying to do my best to hold you each. So that.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to say a couple things that you just said. I'm going to reflect. The number one question, what do you feel on the inside? You'll lean in as a temporary secure attachment figure. You're both in distress. This is really hard for both of you. Yes, you feel so frustrated. It makes sense. And then you also slow down, even though you as a clinician might buzz up in order to get in and match them. And
you buzz up to match them, then you get in and then you slow them down. And so can I add in? I'm gonna yes. What you just reflected as what you heard me say. I love the question of help me know what's happening on the inside for each of you. What are you feeling right now? But not until I've reflected and contained the escalation. You both are really important. You both make a lot of sense. I'm with you each. I can see your distress. I want to hear from each of you, but I don't want to hear about the content. I actually need to hear about your inner worlds. But we're here together. I'm glad we're meeting. No better time for a session. So glad we're here together. I'm with you both. And what's happening on the inside for each of you. It doesn't matter to me who goes first.
Excellent, Catherine. Such a good clarification. So the first thing you do is you are going to lean in and you're going to hold them both. Reflect their distress. I'm with you. I get it. Content isn't going to help us, right? I'm so glad you're here. All these attachment statements that hold them. And then you're going to be able to start to say, okay, what's happening on the inside?
Yeah, those initial reflections for me, and I'm taking the risk to be a little bit bolder. I'm taking the lead. I'm reflecting my observation. I'm establishing myself as their secure base because right now they are not for each other. So I'm assuming a lot. And then through the session, they'll fill in the gaps and they'll let me know more. The content will just come out in bits through the process of the session. But feel free to assert yourself and be like, wait, I got this, you guys. Could you follow my lead, please? We've got to shift our trajectory because otherwise we won't be able to make progress here.
That's great. And in fact, one of the things that has really helped me along those lines is if I am 40 minutes in, maybe you'd say 30 minutes in, and we are not getting traction in any way whatsoever, I might say we have 30 minutes left and I do not want you guys to leave in the same shape that you arrived. So
I
we've
agree.
got to switch gears.
Please.
This is what I specifically need.
Yes.
To switch gears. Because otherwise I feel like I'm watching the clock. We got to get going or else I'm not going to be helpful to you and you're going to be in pain and leave in pain. But that way we are all aware, you know? So
yeah. And you can even say, and I love that way of working, you can even say, I see the clock. We've given the explanations plenty of airtime. Could you hear my plea that we need to shift? We need to change channels.
Yeah.
Pick up the remote and change the channel. Could you follow my lead to your inner worlds?
Yeah.
And so I'm just adding words to your great process comment, Jen.
For more hot tips on emotionally focused therapy, go to theeftcafe.com and sign up for our newsletter where you will receive short little clips like the one you just watched.